formless mother, and the mother of truth, a fitting choice for the Omen whose true mother had abandoned him. We've talked about outer gods in other videos, but long story short, they're these cosmic, Lovecraftian entities that are at once extremely powerful, but also strangely limited in how they can influence events in the lands between. Instead of getting involved directly, they will often commune through envoys or vessels. And in the case of the formless mother, her subject of communion, one of them at least, was Moog. The Blood Boon incantation describes Moog's meeting with this outer god. It reads, "The Mother of Truth craves wounds. When Moog stood before her, deep underground, his accursed blood erupted with fire, and he was besotted with the defilement that he was born into." The text also describes what happens when you cast this incantation. You thrust your arm into the body of the formless mother, then scatter the blood flame to set the area ablaze. So, there's a lot to break down with this one description, but let's start with the fact that this outer god is at once both the formless mother and the mother of truth. So what exactly do these titles mean? Let's start with the formless mother, because I feel like that title is easier to rationalize. She is likely formless because liquid blood is her essence. And incidentally, the word formless is also used to describe the dragon communion seal in Elden Ring, which is also made of blood. But let's cast our net beyond to Bloodborne, where an extremely relevant parallel to the formless mother exists in the character of formless Erden, which is also an outer god of sorts. The Erden Carol rune states that blood is the essence of the formless Great One, Erden, and while I absolutely think that the universes of Bloodborne and Elden Ring are separate, I'm confident that From Software are reusing a concept from Bloodborne here in Elden Ring. So it is that I'm confident that blood is also the essence of the formless mother. That said, the formless mother still has a body of sorts. We thrust our arm cross-dimensionally into it when we cast Blood Boon, and when we rip our arm out, we scatter not just blood, but blood flame. Thus, while I think the formless mother absolutely has an affinity for any blood, I think her essence is, more accurately, blood flame. And she's not the only outer god with a flame of her own. The Fell god has Giant's Flame, Death has Black Flame and Ghost Flame, Frenzy has Frenzy Flame, and you could even theorize that the Greater Will has the Golden Fire that spews from the mouth of the Elden Beast and Plastigisax. So, flame is commonly a sign of an outer god's essence, and I think the formless mother is no different, with a blood flame that continues to threaten rupture on those afflicted long after it touches their flesh. The formless mother's other title is the Mother of Truth, and this title is a lot harder to interpret. The Mother of Truth. What truth? The only character that we know of that the Mother of Truth has appeared before is Moog. So we're kind of forced to judge her character through his. And while I guess it's possible that the Mother of Truth venerates the absolute truth, a broader truth, the fact that she chooses to act through Moog is at least a little bit telling. We know that she bestows power on accursed blood, and I think this preference for accursed blood might be a part of the truth that she represents. I think she might prefer to act through those who are unfairly cursed, like the Omen, like Moog. And I say unfairly cursed because that's kind of what curses are, always in From Software games. Curses are always the domain of the gods, and they're always delivered pretty heavy-handedly. Take Dark Souls, for example, where Gwyn, a god, refused to relinquish his Age of Fire. opting instead to curse humanity with undeath, so that they might fuel his fire until the world turns to ash. Pretty over the top, right? And Queen Marika is actually very similar to Gwyn in that she's a god who arrogantly thinks her order is perfect to the point where she'll do anything to try and preserve it. Her hubris is alluded to in the Mending Rune of Perfect Order description, which states that the current imperfection of the Golden Order, or instability of ideology, can be blamed upon the fickleness of the gods no better than men. And it's this same hubris that led to the scorn, the crucible, and I think the curse upon the Omen as well. To make things even more unfair for the Omen, their curse appears to largely be one of perception, of hate. The Omen-Bear description conflates these two things and speaks from the perspective of an Omen child who pleads, "Please don't hate me or curse me, please." I also think this notion of curses being unfair is explored further in the Dung Eater's quest, where the Dung Eater goes around defiling others and spreading the Omen curse. He calls this defilement his cursed blessing, because if he defiles everyone, in the end, everyone will be cursed, and therefore no one will be. Thus, in his ending, a sort of cursed justice is restored to the world. Elden Ring has this consistent theme where characters turn their curse into their strength. I think the Dung Eater and Moog are perfect examples of that. And this is just my theory, but I think the Mother of Truth might bestow power upon the accursed because the truth is that curses of the gods are unfairly given. There should be nothing wrong with being born with omen horns, right? It's just this genetic trait, a vestige of the primordial crucible that was once even considered divine. But thanks to the Golden Order, these creatures are now considered omens instead. So I'd like to argue that this unfairness is why the Mother of Truth bestows power upon accursed blood. But, of course, this is just my theory, and I welcome any challenges to it in the comments. I think challenging each other respectfully is how we can get a bit closer to the truth. Speaking of, I saw arguments ages ago that stated that the Formless Mother is responsible for the curse of the Omen, but I'd like to challenge that idea. I'm not sure it can be correct. For one, it's stated that Moog first stood before the Formless Mother underground, and he was only down here because he was already banished here for being Omen, so he must have been Omen before this meeting. What's more, when he did stand before her, it's stated that his accursed blood erupted with fire. Thus, his blood was already accursed when it erupted with fire. Finally, it says Moog was besotted with the defilement that he was born into. Thus, he was born Omen, like all of the other Omen children, born to be shunned in a wretched mire underground. But I think there's a reason that people argue that the Formless Mother created the Omen, and I think one of the arguments is that Morgoth, Moog's brother, also has blood flame attacks, just like his brother. So I think people reason that blood flame is therefore synonymous with having accursed blood and that all Omen have it. But that's not true, because only Moog and Morgoth seem to have blood that was set ablaze. It's clear Moog's was set ablaze in item descriptions, and it's clear Morgoth weaponized his own flaming blood by recanting it, but no other Omen fight with blood flame. So I reckon they both received this blood flame from the Formless Mother. I think the Formless Mother appeared before not just Moog, but Morgoth as well, even though that's never mentioned. Only difference was Moog embraced this power and Morgoth spurned it. Indeed, Morgoth only uses blood flame against us in his boss fight as a last resort. Morgoth's blood flame became a cursed sword that reads, "Weapon of Shifting Hue," used by Morgoth, the Omen King. The accursed blood that Morgoth recanted and sealed away reformed into this blade. For him to have this